Week 11 of the NFL season begins tonight with a rematch between the Cardinals and the Seahawks, and this is a brand new Kickoff with Kelly. Good afternoon and welcome into Kickoff with Kelly. I'm Kelly Warner and I'm here to get you ready for another week of NFL action. But first, let's take a look back at last week with another edition of Love It or Leave It. The Cardinals are loving life after a Hail Murray won their game last Sunday. I thought Cardinals-Seahawks from Week 7 was the game of the year, but Cardinals-Bills definitely topped it. The Bills went up 30-26 with only 34 seconds to go, and that seemed like the end. After a touchback, Arizona had 2 timeouts and a handful of snaps at best to cover 75 yards. This is one of those moments in football where everything just came together perfectly, in a really unbelievable way. Though unbelievable, the pieces added up do make sense. First, Kyler Murray, the shortest QB in the league, dodging rushers, rolling against his body, launching a ball 55 yards while falling out of bounds. Then D-Hop, basically doing the NFL equivalent of dunking on 3 veteran defensive backs. And the coach who trusted them both to pull it off. When it really mattered most, Kingsbury went back to 2 guys he knew he could count on most. So no, it's not any sort of mistake at all that they were at the front and center of the biggest moment of the season. The Saints are leaving last week with a new starting quarterback. The Saints are one of few NFL teams that use 3 slots of their 46-player game day roster on quarterbacks. One is for Drew Brees, obviously. Then in the offseason, the Saints signed Taysom Hill to a surprisingly big contract, and head coach Sean Payton talked him up as the potential future franchise quarterback. Then longtime Buccaneers starter Jameis Winston has been listed as 3rd string. But in Sunday's win over the 49ers, the Saints revealed the truth about their QB situation. When Drew Brees came out of the game after halftime with a rib injury, who came in for him? Jameis Winston. After becoming the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions last year, Winston avoided throwing either as the Saints held on to their halftime lead and won 27-17. Despite the depth chart, I think Winston knew he was the Saints' actual backup. You think a 3rd stringer would warm up like this? Much of the MVP spotlight was on Russell Wilson for a bit there, but with the great performances by other QBs in the league and Russell's recent skid has rendered the race wide open. One of the QBs with continued great performance is Kyler Murray. In the last 5 games, Murray became the first quarterback in league history to produce a touchdown with both his arm and legs in that many consecutive contests. And Arizona scored at least 30 points in 5 straight for the first time in franchise history. While Murray has been breaking records, Russell has suddenly become Mr. Unlimited in the turnover department. With the Seahawks' 2-game slide and the Rams and Cardinals wins last week, there's now a 3-way tie for first place in the current most competitive division in the league. This game is definitely going to be good, probably the game of the week. The Seahawks open as 3-point favorites, but I'm going Cardinals with the upset. Moving on to this week, let's take a look at Sunday with this week's can't-miss matchups. The Colts just beat the Titans in a surprising win, and the Packers unsurprisingly beat the Jags, but weren't quite as dominant as expected. The Colts now hold the top spot in the AFC South, but it's still a very tight race with the Titans, so the Colts need every win they can get. If the season ended today, the Packers would have the #1 seed, but after last week playing so close to the 1-8 Jaguars, I'd like to see them play more like themselves in this next game. Indianapolis actually opened as 2.5-point favorites, but sorry Colts, I'm picking the Packers. The Buccaneers came back from their horrible loss to the Saints in great fashion with a big win over the Panthers. And the Rams did what the Rams always do, the opposite of what I say. I always say I'm done picking the Rams games, but this one was too good to pass up. 2 teams with chances to take over the division. The Rams in a 3-way tie for first with one of the competitors looking to lose this week. And the Bucs' biggest competitor, the Saints, losing Drew Brees and possibly taking a big step back. They each need this win. The Bucs opened favored by a field goal, and I'm putting my money on them to win, and maybe hopefully I'll actually get a Rams game pick right. We've kicked off and now it's time to cash out. This is where I'll give you my locks of the week. First off, the Panthers covering 3 against the Lions, and then the Dolphins covering 3 against the Broncos, and finally Eagles-Browns under 48 total points. That'll do it for this week's Kickoff with Kelly. Remember, brand new episodes every Thursday at 3 o'clock streaming on Facebook Live. And if you missed us, be sure to check it out on Penn State Sports Science YouTube channel. I'm Kelly Warner. Enjoy your weekend.